Hi, it's Mike Merrick here from Merrick Consulting. I work with clients and hiring managers across the food and ingredient sector, helping them to identify and attract top performing talent into their businesses. I just wanted to follow up on a video I put out a short while ago where I talked about the difference between contingency and retained search. I've had several people ask me if I could expand a little more on how those two processes differ. And I guess really the starting point of that is the search process, the process that one goes through as a recruiter when looking at attracting individuals. In a contingency scenario, more often than not, it's a quick hit of the job boards, looking at one's existing network, and the emphasis is really on speed over quality. In a retained scenario, a customized plan is created and a continuous search is undertaken until the role is filled. The plan's put together in conjunction with the candidate and very much tailored to each individual client that we're working with. The client relationship difference between contingency and retained is quite significant. In a retained search, a huge amount of time is invested at the outset to fully understand the client's needs and requirements over and above what is written down on the job specification, and then putting together a comprehensive document portraying the client and the opportunity in a professional way. In a contingency scenario, very little time is invested at the outset, at the beginning of the process, and quite often a recruiter is working on the basis of a one-page job spec, and that's it. We then come to the candidate presentation. In a retained search, we're preparing a detailed presentation for each candidate, which includes an in-depth overview of the candidate, interview reports, competency-based questions that are tailored to each individual role, and you get a far better insight into the candidate before you even meet with them. Candidate presentation for contingency search involves a copy of the candidate's CV along with a short summary, and that's really it. We then talk about operating principles, and here I'm really talking about ethics. In a retained search, we'll give you, the client, exclusive access to the candidates that are recruited on your behalf and a guarantee that they will not be shared with any of your competitors during that process. In a contingency search, there's no real loyalty, and you'll quite often find the candidates that you've been presented to you will be shared with other organisations who are looking for similar people. Candidate perception differs quite significantly, again, between retained and contingency. In a retained search, the candidate perceives the recruiter as a natural extension of the client with a vested interest in serving both sides fairly. In contingency search, the candidate's perception is really looking at the recruiter as someone who's got very little client influence, particularly in a multi-agency contingency situation where candidates are being approached by several different organisations for the same position. And we talk about accountability. Retained search, the recruiter has a greater role in selection and a contractual obligation to complete the assignment and work closely with the client until this is achieved. In contingency search, the recruiter's emphasis is solely on generating candidates, and if the candidates are not successful, they will just walk away and then move on to the next role. And let's talk about risk. During a recruitment process, there's always an element of risk. In a retained situation, we offer a 12-month candidate guarantee, which means if a candidate leaves you within 12 months, we will find a replacement at no additional cost to yourself. Contingency search, you might get 6 weeks, 8 at a push, maybe not even that. So the element of risk involved in contingency selection is considerably greater than with retained. If you'd like to understand how we can support you with your current recruitment needs, please drop me an email to the address you see at the bottom of this page, or drop me a private message. I'd be delighted to hear from you. Thanks very much for listening.